to warn me. They said I shouldn't come here, and I said, no, you're wrong. They can handle it. Look at this. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to do some serious talking here in Knoxville tonight. I'm disappointed there are no protesters, so if anybody wants to make a sign or anything, I'd be thrilled if anybody would protest. I'm happy to call the Inquirer. Oh, I did get a protest in Nashville, which I was very excited about. So, I know, it was juicy. So, sure enough, I'm doing a show in Nashville, and then I get a call from a local police officer the day of the show. And he says, Miss Griffin, I just want you to know, I hear that there's going to be a protest at your show tonight. And I said, oh, what time? I was all giddy with excitement. What should I wear? So he said, well, we'd like to escort you from your hotel to the stage door. So I said, okay, fine. And, as much lighting as possible, or if you can run the siren, or I'm happy to call the local NBC affiliate. Whatever you have is great. Sheriff's Department. And so anyway, I get to the show, and I'm all excited about my protest. And the f***ing protest in Nashville was two sweet little old ladies with a card table and some kind of sign saying something bad about me. And then, here's the best part. They had baked cookies and were handing them out. Two sweet little old ladies with homemade cookies. Now, those gays turned on me and took that cookie. So fast. Those gays were like, you're right, I think she's awful. Thank you. And I would too. How could you not? Who doesn't want a homemade cookie in a protest? Guilty. By the way, I also, because I'm on the road all the time and I tour all over the place, but when I am here in the South, I do like to frequent a certain dining establishment. I don't mean to brag, because I feel like I don't think most of you could probably get a good table or afford it there. Have you guys ever heard of a 5-star restaurant called the Waffle House? All right, I love the Waffle House. I can't help it. I love hitting the Waffle House after a show, because, I can't eat beforehand, I eat afterwards. So you will see me one of these nights at 2 in the morning, and I'm all about being sandwiched in between the, the white kids who think they're black, which is my favorite thing. There's nothing like a Southern wick, because they have like a Southern accent, and then they're sort of trying to do a black accent, and then they've got, right? You know what I'm talking about. And then there's me, and I'm quietly just trying to have my chocolate chip waffles. And then in my smothered, covered, and whatever the else. I don't know. I mean, I guess they call it potatoes. I don't know what it really is, but they're like spaghetti potatoes. And then, at 2 in the morning, they're great. An hour later, you want to kill yourself? But at that moment, you're like, this is home cooking. It's good. And then, usually, there's a very friendly waitress, and let me just say this about the servers at the Waffle House. I think that this is the land of opportunity, and I think it's great that to work at the Waffle House, it is a policy that is teeth optional. They're not required. Teeth are not a requirement, which is great. And also, what's great about that is if you look at the menu at the Waffle House, you can gum anything on there. You don't really need to chew there. You can just gum it. It's fine. And it's going to come up on you later, but that's when you have your good friend hold your hair. All right, now, first of all, please tell me that you're watching this season, because they've really outdone themselves with the casting, this season of Dancing with the Stars. All right. Yeah, here we go. Exactly. Strap yourselves in. All right, so first of all, of course, I miss my favorite contestant, Kate Gosselin. Exactly, yes, come on. I'm not saying I miss her as, a dancer, or really anyone that respects dance in any way. I am saying I miss her in the way that I miss Paula Abdul on American Idol. It's that level. But I have to say, I miss her on Dancing with the Stars because the eye rolling and the gum popping and how she acted like she didn't really want to be there. But to me, it was all about the night she did her dance to Lady Gaga's Paparazzi. You remember, straight guys, don't act like you didn't see it or you don't know what I'm talking about, because you know you saw that f***ed up shit. You know that you at least saw a clip of it. So Kate Gosselin comes out with like gothic eye makeup and a long tail of magic hair. And I'm no stranger to the magic hair. I have some of my own in tonight, and some of it is just magic. So she comes out, and then they have like 2 mock-ups of tabloids, and when she sang to Lady Gaga's Paparazzi and was dancing like a freaking linebacker. I miss her. I do. I already miss her. Loving watching Pam Anderson. Love it. I love it. And first of all, she's a better dancer than we thought, right? Like she's surprisingly good. But that's really not what I'm talking about, is it? No. I don't really care about that part. I'm talking about the part that looks like Pam was at the club again, all night long, again. And my favorite part is that when the couple who's just done their dance is being interviewed, have you noticed how Pam Anderson, when she's sitting in the background, always finds her light? Like they're being interviewed and she's always sitting on that bench like doing this. Remember the first week? Pamela Anderson, you've done everything. Cover girl, television shows, international icon. Why did you do Dancing with the Stars? Because I just thought, Dancing with the Stars, check. And the week she did that dance in that sexy outfit that really looked like it was like a curtain rod. Like it was sexy, but it was like a bikini, and then it was sort of like a white sheet like hung up on her nipple. I really thought I was going to fall off. And when she ended that dance in the splits, and that floor got an infection. I'm not a doctor, but that floor was on Cipro for 3 weeks. The conversation was as follows. Zellweger, we cool? You know what, dude? I get it. You're f***ing funny. Like, I get it. You're like making jokes about people, all right, dude? Like, I f***ing get it. Now that I've been at this a while and really talking smack about celebrities to the point where, like I don't ever get invited to anything in Hollywood or anything. I, go to Lance Bass's house, twice. So anyway, occasionally now I have these celebrity run-ins that I can't believe are happening myself. So sure enough, I got a call from freaking Camp Manelli, and Liza was doing a midnight show in Las Vegas, and would I like to go? Well, of course, what gay man like myself doesn't want to go see Liza Minnelli, at midnight in Vegas? So sure enough, we go see Liza Minnelli in Vegas at midnight. It was really exciting. In fact, she was taping it for a TV special. So this was an A-list thing. I'm there, and it was like an old school booth, like an old school showroom. And then in the next booth is Barry Manilow. So I know, it was great. And then the next booth over, and this was really kind of out of left field, A-list actress, Academy Award winner, Renee Zellweger. Okay, exactly. Thank you. But we're still, I get it. So, all right, now, actually, on one of the old episodes of My Life on the D-List, she sent me a beautiful bouquet of flowers because I may have made a very innocent joke about her one time. I believe it was something like I said that she looked like a sweaty, puffy Cocor, and and in fact, she sent me a really beautiful, gorgeous, expensive bouquet of flowers that simply said, "Warmest wishes." And she's Southern, so you know that's Southern for f*** you. Right? So sure enough, I'm there in Vegas looking at Liza, Manilo's at the next booth, and there's Renee Zellweger. And yet she was really flying underneath the radar because she had no makeup on, and her hair was in sort of a messy ponytail, and she wears these big, like, Buddy Holly glasses, thick frames and stuff. And I don't think she knew it was a TV taping. And, you know, I showed up with the fake lashes and the whole thing, waving to the camera the whole time. So it was just random, but as I'm looking at Renee Zellweger, I'm thinking about the flowers she sent me, and of course I've never met her or anything. So then I decide to do what a lot of A-listers do. You know how you hear about how George Clooney plays, you know, he plays pranks on his co-stars and stuff. I don't know what the I was thinking, but all right, so the weird thing is Renee Zellweger, because she wasn't all done up and she didn't have like a posse and everything, really no one was noticing her. So sure enough, people start going up to Manilow and they're asking for pictures, and then maybe a guy comes up to me and asks for a picture and stuff. So I start telling guys, gay guys of course, oh, there's Academy Award winning A-lister Renee Zellweger, and she loves when you sit on her lap and ask for a picture. I'm a riot. All right, I thought that'd be the icebreaker. Where'd I go wrong? So then I look over and I see Renee Zellweger staring daggers at me, like my eyes were starting to bleed. So I was like, okay, well, maybe that wasn't so fun for her. Now, it's after the show, and we get invited to go back and say Liza, which of course you could never say no to. Why would you want to? But I'm going in my mind, oh, gotta run into Zellweger after the flowers and the go sit on her lap. So, and you know I stand by my no apology policy. And so, which by the way has never worked, ever, and has gotten me nowhere, but I'm sticking to it. So I go backstage and I see her, and she was dressed very casually, and I thought, okay, I better just sort of face the music. So I just went up to her and I go, Zellweger, what's up? Are we cool? All right. And then she started bobbing her head like a bird, like this, and gets better. And she was talking in a New York accent, and I know she's from Texas. And then she started throwing fake gang signs like Miley Cyrus. So the conversation was as follows. Zellweger, we cool? You know what, dude? I get it. You're funny. Like, I get it. You're like making jokes about people, all right, dude? Like, I get it. And she's got those lips that take up half of her body. She's a very petite girl, and she was bobbing her head like a bird in a zoo, really. And I just had one slight moment where my blackened, charred heart almost said to her, okay, you just have to stop this right now because I am not man enough to not put this in my next special. It's too good. And she just kept bobbing and weaving like a up prize fighter and throwing gang signs and talking like this. Talking like she was Snooki on Jersey Shore. I know. All right, it seemed to me like she was, it was, all right, how should I put this? I would say that she appeared to be very energetic. Dude, you're seriously trying to get nominated for an Emmy for my guest starring appearance on Law and Order. That's right. As my mother calls it, Law and Order SUV. She insists that it's Law and Order SUV, even though I was on it. The trials and tribulations of a Jeep Cherokee, I guess. Gritty crime drama. Anyway, so she was very proud that I got to be on her favorite show, Law and Order SUV. And it's so great because she doesn't really know what's real. And so she was actually worried about me meeting Chris Maloney, who I know everyone loves the hot, sexy Chris Maloney. You know, I got to make out with him in the episode. Yeah, I had a makeout scene. Take that, gays, in your face. You too, ladies. Yeah. He is sexy. Here's why. You know, I think this is so interesting. The gays love him from Oz, right? That's right. That was a gritty drama. And so I didn't watch Oz, but I do watch SUV. So I said to one of my gays, I said, why do you guys love Chris Maloney so much? And he was like, oh, please, ask anybody. And I said, all right, what? So apparently there was a scene in Oz where Chris Maloney was, I guess, the villain, and he made a guy blow him, and then after he came, he cracked his neck and killed the guy. Exactly. What is sexier than that? Now look. I just think it's so funny that people think that's sexy. And I'm like, look, I'm willing to gag a little, but really? Do you have to kill me? Really? I have to die for it? So sure enough, I'm faced with Chris Maloney, who's super, super sexy and hot. And then, of course, the co-star, Mariska Hargitay, who, beautiful. And, by the way, you know I had a kissing scene with her, too, that they cut out at the last minute, but you can still see it on YouTube. Because someone leaked it. Grr, I'm so mad. All right, so it was actually really exciting being on the set because, it's really iconic stage, a stage where there's the sergeant's office and the box. They're always like, throw you in the box. So Chris Maloney threw me in his box. I can say that much. And it was heaven. It was heaven. So sure enough, it's time for my first big scene with the whole cast. Now, because My Life on the D-List is just like a reality show, I had kind of forgotten that there's all these things in real shows, like lines is one. So I certainly wanted to know those. But then there's this thing they have in scripted shows called marks. And that means you rehearse it once, and each actor has a different color of neon tape that they put on the floor. So when you're doing a show like that, you have to hit your mark on the floor, look at this camera over here, say this line over here, but this syllable over here, make eye contact with Chris Maloney, then look at Mariska Hargitay, step over to your mark number 2 on the floor. Okay, that threw Mrs. Kathy for quite a loop. Holy balls. All right, so I do my first take, and then the director says, cut, and he comes over and says, okay, well, that was a good first try, which means you suck. And then, oh God, so then he says, okay, so we need you to do it again. And I said, all right, that's fine. What advice do you have? And he said, well, we just need you to do the whole scene about 2 inches to your left. And I was like, oh, right, the tape thing. Yeah, of course. So then Chris Maloney and Mariska Hargitay start giving me and Chris Maloney goes, don't you have marks on your show? And I said, no, it's a show. We do it at my house. And then Mariska Hargitay says, well, how do you know where to look? And I go, I kind of just look. Sometimes my mom gets drunk, and that's funny. And then I do it again, and I up with the little tape thing again, and then 17 times later, I kept not hitting the freaking little mark, right? Oh my God, it was awful. I had the flop sweat, my bangs were curling, I had the ass crack sweat. Yeah, I had the ass crack sweat. I could not turn around, or you would see the landing strip of sweat. I was actually the special victim of it. Anyway, so I just kept up, and then finally Chris Maloney was right behind the camera for one scene, and I was like, what's my motivation? And Chris Maloney goes, hit your mark. And I felt like he had just jizzed me, and my neck was about to snap, and I hit And have you noticed how the hoarders often actually hoard things on their own body? Like they have like moles and whiskers and like a weird pouch of fat on one leg, and like they're actually hoarding on their own body. Oh, please tell me, by the way, there's a show on TV that's my favorite new show. It's so creepy. Please tell me I'm not the only person watching Hoarders. Is anybody? Excitement dance. All right, so now this show is so fantastic. First of all, it has the best music sting of any show on TV, right? When they start with that meep, meep. It's so much scarier than any Paranormal Activity, Freddy Krueger, any horror movie could ever be. And here's why. Because there's a show now about that one house that we all had in the neighborhood, right? There was always that one house that had the crazy cat lady with the shades pulled down year-round, a couple of boards in front of the window. And, you know, we never really knew what went on there, but we thought we knew. Oh, no. Now we know. The hoarder shows are taking you freaking inside, and they're scaring the out of you. Meep, meep. And they're always in some up town, right? Spanaway, Washington. Meep. And they'll show the exterior of the house, and at first they kind of lull you into thinking, oh, this is just a show about people that clutter. You know, we've all kept a few too many magazines or not thrown away the pizza box for a few hours. Oh no, oh no. They have kicked it up a notch in the Hoarders franchise, okay? Meep. And so at first you're thinking, how bad can it be, right? And then we get to meet the hoarder, right? We're gonna meet our hoarder, Gina. And have you noticed how the hoarders often actually hoard things on their own body? Like they have like moles and whiskers and like a weird pouch of fat on one leg, and like they're actually hoarding on their own body. And she's saying, I'm Gina, and I guess I'm a hoarder. I just like to keep things, that's all. All right. Meep. Meep. And you kind of start the show by thinking, how bad can it be? You know, somebody's gonna come up and they're gonna clean it up in a day. Oh no. The next shot is that the camera guy can't even open the front door because of the that is piled up to the ceiling in every room. And by the way, I don't mean a little bit of a mess. I mean that they do a sweeping shot of the living room, and they have to do it really fast because they know your head is going to explode when you slow it down, which I do on my remote. And then you get the meep, and you have this moment of, holy balls. What? Did I just see a doily with some urine on it next to 18 beer steins, a few pieces of poop, 6 months of food, clothing piled up to the ceiling, and a dirty tampon? Meep. Meep. Yeah. It's real, Knoxville. So they have to show it to you in the meep because you can't fucking handle it, right? And then what I love is the next shot, because they're always animal lovers, right? The hoarders, they're always animal lovers. The next shot is always one cat trying to get out. Just an alley cat is trying to peace out, okay? There's an alley cat that's like, this place stinks, seriously. There's so many bugs, I'm full. I really, honestly, I need to go to Celebrity Fit Club. So, beep. And then of course, they bring in the spunky organizer, Wendy. And she comes in, hi, my name is Wendy. I specialize in OCD, in particular, compulsive hoarding. I'm a psychotherapist. And Wendy's full of piss and vinegar, right? She's got her lesbian khakis and her shirt. I'm gonna clean up this place. I like to help people. And Wendy, we're gonna sort some things out. We're gonna take care of this. It's a form of OCD, it really is. All right. Poor Wendy doesn't know know what the she's in for. They show Wendy, who's a professional psychotherapist organizer, they show her one room. Beep. And Wendy's like, I've never seen this before. I need help. And then, right? And how frustrating is it when Wendy decides that the therapy is to let crazy Gina decide what stays and what goes? Did you see the one where they were in almost a fist fight about keeping those little plastic clear pitchforks that hold a card in a bouquet of roses? Beep. I mean, fighting over it. Gina, I see that you have 147 plastic card holders. I'm just wondering if you could let go of maybe 3 of them. They have memories. I mean, it's... And then they start to try to declutter the house. And when they start to lift the stuff up, oh yeah, because you know what's coming. It's the smushed cat skeleton. Gina, are you comfortable letting go of the flattened cat skeleton? Could I keep the tail? It has memories. Then, just when the organizer's about to run out with the remaining cats, they bring in this company, 1-800-GOT or whatever, and it is like the cavalry. They come in a row of empty semis because these little houses are so filled to the ceiling with and I mean sometimes there's literally and then once they put it all out on the front lawn, it takes up like the whole city block, right? So now they're all standing there. So there's the hoarder who couldn't be happier. Luckily, I've kept all my used feces because it has memories. And then there's, right? The poor organizer is like, what's next? And then the poor guys from 1-800-GOT show up. And you know, these guys, they might look a little shady. There might be a couple from the work release program. I don't know. But they're professionals. They do nothing but go into hoarder houses and take crap out. And they have a look out of their faces like, holy balls. And they're looking at the crazy hoarder and the organizer, and they're all lined up looking at all this crap. And then there's always the one poor disgruntled black guy who's like, mother white people. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking it can't get any better. And then who walks up to the table and sits down? Sharon Stone. I told you, I'm bringing it. Tonight I bring it. Obviously I don't really mingle with the A-listers, but every so often, if you talk enough about someone, you will run into them. Ryan Seacrest. And so, you know why? I'm pissed because she wouldn't do the D-list this year. Because, you know, on the D-list, basically, I come up with an idea, and then sometimes it works out, and sometimes it doesn't, but you never know. And so I came up with an idea that I thought was hilarious for an entire episode, and it was simply called An Uncomfortable Lunch with Ryan Seacrest. And she said she would do it, and then she didn't return my calls, and I don't know what her problem is. But anyway, it's funny, when I do run into Ryan, he's like, why do you with me so much? And I just hold up an invisible mirror. Here's why. No. All right, so I have to tell you about another celeb run-in I had because it was just too good. All right, now first of all, you know that I'm very proudly friends with Suzanne Summers. Yeah, in your face, Knoxville. Yeah, that's right. I totally know her. And so anyway, but she was on the D-list last year, and she's a nice girl. And one night I was feeling lonely, and I sent her an email, and I said, hey, I don't have anything to do tonight. You know, do you want to go grab a bite? So she sends me back an email, and she says, well, actually, my husband Alan and I are going to a dinner party. Do you want to go with us? So I said, fine, if you can, you know, kind of get me in, I'll just drive myself. All right, I didn't know that that's how the real A-list works. You know, if I go to a dinner party, I'm calling the paparazzi, hey, I'll be there in 20 minutes. And so, So I walk in, and it's at some old movie producer's house, and the house is in Beverly Hills, and it's gorgeous, and there's no press there, no nothing. I walk in, I see Suzanne Somers and her husband. Here's who's at our table. Don Rickles, who, legend, and his wife, but also Rickles has what I call the Rickles license to kill, because there's something about Don Rickles and Joan Rivers where they've just gotten to a point where they can say nobody else can get away with. I mean, nobody else. And they're treated with respect, as they should be, but I just love to watch those two, right? So sure enough, at the table is Don Rickles and his wife. Suzanne Somers is next to me. Morgan Freeman is over here. I know. Exactly. And then, and then next to me, Sidney Poitier. What about that? All right. Oprah's favorite, by the way. Her favorite. There I am right next to me. So I'm sitting there next to Sidney Poitier, and I'm thinking, what the am I going to say to him? So, you know, I don't know what to do. He's a legend. So I just turned to him, and I said, Mr. Poitier, it must be such an honor for you to meet me. And wouldn't you know it, he laughed. I was like, oh, finally. And he took my hand in both of his hands, and he said, I love you because you'll say anything. I said, let's take a picture. Let's take a picture. So I'm sitting there, and this is so A-list, and I'm just listening to everything. And this like is like an old school Beverly Hills Hollywood crowd, right? And they're saying the kind of that they can only say to each other. So Morgan Freeman goes up to Rickles and slaps him on the back, and then Don Rickles says to Morgan Freeman, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be dancing and working in the kitchen? That's exactly what I did. That is exactly what I did. I froze in time. I froze. And I'm looking around like, oh, okay, is he okay? What's the next thing? I did not waiting to exhale. I was waiting to exhale, frozen like that. And then sure enough, Morgan Freeman laughs his ass off and says, all night I've been waiting for you to call me hockey puck. My eyes were like pinwheels. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking it can't get any better. And then who walks up to the table and sits down? Sharon Stone. I told you, I'm bringing it. Tonight I bring it. All right. So good old Stoney is there, and she is... You know, she's been in the act for a while, and to me, she's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. You know, she's famous, and everybody knows her, and she just seems like she's got a wheelbarrow full of crazy, doesn't she? Like she's just walking around a wheelbarrow full of crazy. Are you watching her on Law & Order SUV? She's fantastic. So, I know, so she's great. Golden Globe winner, Oscar nominee, the whole thing, right? And allegedly. So I'm thinking it can't get any better, and then freaking Sharon Stone walks up. And by the way, she is dressed up to the nines. She's got the hair slicked back, the makeup on. She's wearing a black sequin mini dress. She's got the ridiculous body of death, and her face looks great. I don't know if she's been to the dentist. You know, that's my code. That's what we call in Hollywood, having some dental work. So anyway, Sharon Stone walks up, and she really does look fantastic. So you remember, she and Rickles were in Casino together. So he starts laying into her right away. It was so funny. And the deal is, it's Rickles. You got to just take it. You have to take it, even if you're Sharon Stone. So he is just giving her and first of all, Sharon Stone walks up to the table, sees Rickles, sees me, and then has this look like, oh, I am, really? Can I eat in the kitchen? All right, so I go, sit down, Stoney, and I was all excited because I knew Rickles would start, and he just started arbitrarily giving her for no reason, and he was like, honey, remember when we were in Casino? Remember how you were friendly with everybody? Honey, like he was just riding her ass. And you know, you gotta take it, it's Rickles, and I know she absolutely hates me, and here's why. Because whenever I make a joke at her expense, she always goes like this. Isn't she great? Which means all right, so she sits down, and then Suzanne Somers innocently just says, so Sharon, you know, what have you been doing lately? And I think Sharon's gonna start to talk about what movie she's working on or whatever. And then she says, well, actually, I've been doing some writing. So I know it's gonna get good and crazy pretty fast, right? So Suzanne innocently says, oh, you know, what are you writing? And then Sharon Stone says, well, I've been writing some short stories, and I'm about to have one published. My ear grew like a chia pet. About what, Sharon? And so anyway, she told the story that was so awesome. I couldn't even believe it was happening. So she actually said, and she, by the way, she had her food and she was cutting her meat while she was saying it, like orphan. And I love orphan. She just misunderstood. Anyway, so she said, well, I've been writing a story about what my life was like when I was a child. And you know, I'm the daughter of a deer hunter, which I don't even think is true, but whatever, let's just go with, let's roll with it. Maybe she is, I don't know. And when my father and I would go hunting in the morn. Now, you know, I'm sitting there thinking, she did not just say morn. So then she tells the story that's so nuts, and she goes, and when we would go hunting, I learned that when you go into the wood, she did not just say the wood, singular, when I have 2 shows in Knoxville. She did not do that. Come on. I'm only human. I am only human. All right, so she says that my father and I would go hunting early morn in the wood, and what I learned is that when you are with the animals, you have to become one with them. And I would actually, and I would actually dull all of my senses except my sense of smell like an animal. So I'm picturing Sharon Stone as a child in the morn, walking through the wood with her father. Her eyes are closed. She's not using her hearing at all, just bumping into trees. And I said, you know, Sharon, did you ever hurt your head? And isn't she great? And then she actually said that the story was about how she realized the more she did this, that we were all like animals. And then she said, and I realized that every day I make the choice like an animal, whether or not I'm going to kill an animal or a person. Come again, Stoney? Yes. It's a choice. Every day. I choose not to kill animals and people, but I could. All right. I'm reaching for my car keys. Hey, I gotta run. It's really, you're great. It scared me, and not if, but when I show up murdered in my own bed, go to her house first, then Oprah, then Ryan Seacrest. It's gonna be one of those 3, I'll tell you right now. What about when Oprah and Gayle had deep fried butter? Am I making this up? Deep fried butter! I just want you to know that I'm a huge fan of Oprah's, and I love to make fun of her, but I also do really watch the show every day. And I'm really excited because my favorite Oprah is back. And there are many Oprahs, and I love them all. I love Ghetto Oprah and White Lady Oprah and Book Club Oprah and Opening a School Oprah and Pissed Off Oprah and Happy Oprah. But out of all the Oprahs, my favorite one has returned to us, and that would be Big Fat Oprah. So anyway, out of all the Oprahs, I'm so excited to see Big Fat Oprah back, because now it's like her body matches the size of her gigantic head. Come on, this is the way Oprah was meant to be. And you know how I knew that she just surrendered? First of all, she wrote an article in her magazine, I surrendered! Like she had the choice, by the way. But anyway, I knew that it was over when, and please tell me you saw this episode, when Oprah and Gayle went to the Texas State Fair. Did anybody see that? All right, so they didn't just go to the Texas State Fair, but they actually went to judge the food contest at the Texas State Fair. Gayle! All right. Oh my God, it was so great because not only did they judge the food, did you see it? They actually, this was the genius, they actually judged the competing kiosks of deep fried food. So sure enough, Oprah and Gail go and they're judging the deep fried Twinkies, and the deep fried cookie dough, and the deep fried Oreos, and all stuff which they had deep fried guacamole. Did you even, I know, who knew? But no, it gets better. What about when Oprah and Gail had deep fried butter? Am I making this up? Deep fried butter! Deep fried butter. Apparently you take a cube of frozen butter and you wrap it in phyllo dough and flash fry it, and then you put jelly and powdered sugar on it. Thank you, exactly. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing's wrong with that. That's all good. Deep fried butter, Gail! I mean, when those two dudes suited up, it was so fantastic. They had on the 10-gallon hats and the cowboy boots, and when Oprah squeezed herself into those Lee Riders jeans, Huskies, you know, Huskies, and no, cut the Knoxville, she had full camel toe, admit it. Oprah had a camel toe in those jeans. You could put a saddle on. And Gail could ride it across the desert.